So after a 4-year absence from the Championship, Sunderland are back and the Championship is now really starting to take shape heading into next season. Obviously, coming up from League One, we've already had confirmation of the likes of Wigan and Rotherham, who have both achieved promotion this season, and coming up as well as the likes of Norwich and Watford, who have been relegated. Tomorrow we'll get more confirmation as well on who will be joining them coming down from the Premier League. Will it be Burnley or will it be Leeds United? I'll be interested to know from you guys in the comments down below. We also have the playoff final for the Championship to go ahead and settle, which we'll be previewing heading into next week, which I can't wait for. But today's video is all about Sunderland because they have been such an interesting case study to look into ever since they dropped down from the Premier League. And I think that heading into next season, especially under the management of Alex Neil with this current group of players, I think there's a really exciting prospect of what could be achieved by Sunderland over the next few years. I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on everything in the comments down below though. Who out of the 3 newly promoted clubs would you back as the front runner at this point in time in terms of heading into next season? Obviously, we tend to see the disparity between promoted clubs performing at varying different levels throughout the Championship. You know, we certainly got that last season with Peterborough relegated, Hull just about surviving, and Blackpool being pretty comfortable throughout the whole season really. But today's video is all about Sunderland, and before we actually dissect their game against Wycombe, which was a bit of a cracker in the end, I thought it was worth painting the picture of just what Sunderland have got so wrong over these last few years and what they've actually got so right this year, in the contrast to that. So after their relegation from the Premier League in 2017, I think that everyone connected to Sunderland knew that they were in for quite a tough ride heading out down to the Championship the following season. Ellis Short was still the chairman at the time. Simon Grayson was appointed. They took him from my club, Preston North End. And to be honest, he was walking into what was always going to be a pretty impossible job. In terms of the personnel that was at the club at the time, it was a bit of a misshapen squad filled with players who were either not good enough, experienced at the time, or to be honest, didn't really care all too much. I think that certainly came through with a lot of their players' body language on the pitch that season. But Grayson eventually lost his job in October of that year with Sunderland sat in the relegation zone. Chris Coleman was appointed after him. He failed to pick up the pieces and they were ultimately relegated, finishing rock bottom of the Championship on just 37 points, having only won 7 matches throughout that entire Championship campaign, which was ludicrous considering, you know, they were playing in the Premier League the season before that. What then followed was a series of failures in League One, to be honest. I think that even at the time and how bad things were at Sunderland, there was still the general perception around most EFL fans that, you know, Sunderland would take 1, maybe at most 2 years to bounce back from League One. But what we've genuinely seen with League One, and this has probably been a consequence of Sunderland being in there for so long, is the level at the top of League One has continued to go from strength to strength, and there have been so many sort of mishaps at the club, close opportunities where they've run it close and it's not quite clicked for them, or mismanagements further up the club that ultimately led to 3 consecutive failures in League One up until this season. They bounced from philosophy to philosophy, from manager to manager. You know, first of all appointing Jack Ross took them close but not quite far enough. Phil Parkinson never really seemed to be the right fit at Sunderland. Lee Johnson certainly had his moments, but towards the end you could see his spark running out at that club. And it's not been until Alex Neil came in that really instilled this level of confidence and belief into, I think, not just the players but the whole fan base, that everyone has sort of been taken along with this ride under Alex Neil in this later part of the season, and more recently into this playoff campaign, which has finally been a successful one for Sunderland. It's been quite the haunting past for Sunderland, I think it's fair to say, with their playoff failures. Sunderland were 4th in League One when Alex Neil was appointed earlier on in the season, but by no means was that playoff spot already locked off and guaranteed. If anything, they were walking into a bit of a disaster towards the end of the season, having only won 2 of their previous 8 games before Alex Neil was appointed. And it even took Alex Neil a couple of games to properly get his feet under the table with a draw and a loss across his first 2 matches. But after that moment, this Sunderland side just went from strength to strength, unbeaten in their last 13 League One matches, having had quite a tough run in actually, and considering how tight it was on the final day for actually confirming a top 6 spot as well. Then they had to go ahead and overthrow Sheffield Wednesday across the playoff semi-finals, a team billed up as one of the best in League One in terms of pound for pound and talent within that squad, a team that was in the Championship last season. And then they headed to Wembley, having to overthrow Wycombe, who were obviously previously successful through their playoff campaign, another previous Championship club from last season as well. But I think that Alex Neil has particularly now really made a name for himself as an impact manager. Every single job he's gone into, he's had an immediate impact. His first job at Hamilton, after that at Norwich, promotion at Wembley in his first season. His first season at my club, North End, he had us well punching above our weight as we went on to finish in 7th place, and we're really unfortunate for me not to go ahead and finish in the playoffs that season. I'll always have fond memories of Alex Neil from Preston North End. I think towards the end just seemed to run out of steam a little bit and certainly needed this break from football, but he's come back absolutely reinvigorated. I think that shines through in all the interviews that he gives and things like that. I think that he needed a project that he could be absolutely passionate about, and I think that he's walked into that exact job at Sunderland. And promotion at Wembley for his club as big as Sunderland, for all the mishaps that they've taken in League One over the past few years, I think is an absolutely unbelievable achievement for Alex Neil. In terms of the actual 90 minutes at Wembley though, I do think it was Sunderland who were by far and away the better team over the 90 minutes in this one. We all knew coming into this game what Wycombe would probably look to offer, and at times I think there probably was a little bit of nervous energy around Sunderland, you know, particularly coming out for that second half and things like that, but the way they managed this game compared to previous playoff outings I think was completely night and day. We saw for the first 15-20 minutes Sunderland coming out like an absolute house on fire, so much pressure bombarded on that Wycombe defence, some lovely interplay between the likes of, you know, Embleton, Pritchard, Roberts getting in on the act as well, and Pritchard setting up the first one for Embleton to really settle the nerves. In the end, David Stockdale has a bit of a nightmare with this one, should save it, but Embleton, who's obviously got a playoff past I suppose with a previous promotion with Blackpool, with that opening goal, and from that point onwards it was always going to be a real uphill battle for Wycombe to go ahead and get back into this game. Now there was a spell, you know, particularly beginning of the second half, where that nervous energy did start to seem to settle around Sunderland, and you know, by the time Akinfenwa had come on, a couple of nice touches from him, Wycombe had started to get into a few threatening positions, but the goal from Ross Stewart absolutely sealed this one for Sunderland. Stewart, who's been Sunderland's talisman throughout the whole season. And another assist by Alex Pritchard, by the way. 2 assists in this one, 4 key passes. I thought he was absolutely unplayable, and by far and away I thought the best player on the pitch. Pritchard, a player who I think we've all known has it in him to be a player of real class, and at times it's not worked out for him because of, you know, injuries, not fitting into a system. You know, the Huddersfield move didn't particularly work out for him, but at Sunderland he's absolutely become a star, and I can't wait to see what he, alongside some of these other players, have to offer in the Championship next season. We saw the scenes at full time from both the players on the pitch, the fans, the management staff, just how much this actually means to this club, and Sunderland in the Championship next season I think it's going to be an absolutely fascinating thing to watch. I'd be interested to know from you guys though, as of right now, who do you see as the strongest of the 3 teams coming up to the Championship? Not only in terms of the personnel on the pitch and the squad they currently have and what you think they could do, but which philosophy do you think is most adaptable to the Championship? Because I think that in the end probably is the most determining factor really between a side failing or succeeding in the Championship next season. I do also have to say as well, commiserations to Wycombe, because it would have been fantastic to see them back up in the Championship as well. You know, Wycombe, it really felt like they had started to find their feet towards the end of the previous Championship season. The fact that their fans couldn't have been in the stadiums either for that Championship outing, they certainly would have added quite a bit of value to the Championship. But congratulations to Sunderland on the outing in Wembley, which was finally successful, and to Alex Neil as well, who, as a Preston fan, I'm looking forward to seeing back in the Championship, because he really seems to have that fire in his belly, and I certainly wouldn't underestimate Sunderland heading into next season. That will wrap it up for today's video though, guys. Just a quick one after Sunderland's promotion was confirmed. I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on everything in the comments down below. Apart from that though, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.